It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is Ron Keel from his latest release, Metal Cowboy. Probably one of my favorite tunes on that disc, Evil, Wicked, Mean, and Nasty, Chris. And you know what? Speaking of evil, wicked, mean, and nasty, I'm usually referring to you, Chris.
No.
But this guy, you don't even show up on the radar when it comes to this guy. So I want to bring back to the Classic Metal Show our good friend Ron Keel. What's going on, Ron?
Hey, Neely, Chris, it's great to be back on the show. A lot is going on, and I appreciate you spinning that tune. I'm glad that's one of your favorites. That Evil, Wicked, Mean, and Nasty song has a special place in my heart and in my repertoire, and it's certainly a lot of fans. That's their favorite, so I redid that on the Metal Cowboy album, and I really appreciate the response and the coverage.
Yeah, I dig that CD quite a bit. You struck such a great balance between your metal roots and your country roots and all that kind of stuff. So, we had you on the show when you released the thing, and you had a great response to it. But it is definitely a classic in the, I'm going to just lump it all in there, in the Keel catalog.
Thank you, and that's one of the very few times that I've ever been referred to as balanced. But I appreciate that, and it's truly a labor of love. And I think this record's going to be something that hopefully you guys are going to enjoy, and the fans are going to listen to, and I'm going to be very proud of for many years to come.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. Well, Ron, the reason we're bringing you on the show is because you got several things going on, as if that's anything new for Ron Keel. I mean, ever since I was introduced to you so many years ago by your good friend Jamie St. James, and you've been moving around. You were in Columbus at the time, and then I know you went to Nashville, and then you went out to Las Vegas, and now you're on the move again. So what's going on?
Well, as many of the fans are already aware of, I have accepted or been offered and just blessed with a huge opportunity to put an exclamation point on what's been, it's been an amazing 30-year ride. My career has been just a great story and a wonderful adventure for me. And you're right, I'm a nomad. I've gone where the opportunity has taken me in the past, and that's why I took a band called Steeler to L.A. in the early 80s, and the rest is history. And then why the move to Nashville to form Steeler in the first place when I was only 17 years old. My move to Las Vegas 9 years ago, it certainly paid off in a lot of ways. And the time in Ohio is something that I'll always treasure. So I'm blessed to have a number of different home bases and hometowns, but the moves are always made with the music in mind. And this move to Sioux Falls is no exception. I am going there to make history, to put an exclamation point on my career with a project called Badlands Pawn Gold and Jewelry. And it's a big project. It's tough for a lot of people to wrap their heads around it and understand, wait, you're going to Sioux Falls, South Dakota to work in a pawn shop? And it's way more than that. I mean, this is going to be a huge entertainment destination, a global brand. There's nothing like it on the planet. It's going to be a 50,000 square foot facility where we'll have a number of businesses under one roof. A pawn shop, yes, but also a radio station where I'll be broadcasting on the FM airwaves on the Badlands Radio Network daily on a network of stations covering the entire Midwest, which is a huge opportunity because you guys inspired me and gave me my start in radio. Chris has been a huge help in my radio career, so to see it pay off like this is not only a testament to my skill and hard work, but to his guidance as well. So that radio part of the job is something that I'm really excited about, taking my radio chops to the next level. But really, at the core of it, I'm going to be doing what I've always done. I'm going to be singing, playing music, writing songs, recording albums, and hitting the stage on a daily basis at Badlands Pawn, where we'll have our own full state-of-the-art concert stage. Every Thursday night, it's going to be concert night. We're going to bring in national acts. And my band, the Badlands House Band, will be opening for those national acts, backing them up. If it's a solo artist, we'll back them up. Last week we had Lita Ford and Brett Michaels at our groundbreaking party, which was a huge success. And these people in the area are starved for entertainment and rock and roll. We're going to give it to them but it's also going to be much more than that. It's going to be a weekly network television show. You knew the reality show thing couldn't be far behind with a project of this magnitude. So Badlands Pawn will be a major reality show weekly on television, and so much more. The shooting range, a gun range, $1 million in gold on display, our own foundry, a mint where we're melting down gold and turning it into our own little gold bars. So we'll have Ron Keel gold bars for sale. You can get like $100 worth of gold with my autograph on it for only $5. I'm just kidding. But it's huge, man. It's going to be, it's really an amazing opportunity to do something on a grand scale. But at the core of it, I'm still going to be Ron Keel, the metal cowboy, leading a band, singing, playing, digging, recording, writing songs, and doing what I love to do.
Well, Ron, are you the spearhead, like the sole name behind? I mean, I know there's obviously investors and money and, you know, companies and all that behind all this, but are you kind of like the face of this, or are there other people involved with you?
Well, no, I'm certainly not. This is not my baby, it's my baby now. But the creator of this is business titan Chuck Brennan, who is a heavy hitter in business and in rock and roll. He's very, very close with a lot of your friends and mine. You know, people like Gene Simmons and Alice Cooper and the Kiss guys, and Winger and Cinderella. The list goes on. Chuck has been a very successful businessman for decades now. And he and I, he lives in Las Vegas. He and I have developed a rapport and a friendship over the past few years. And I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time to get selected to be the face and the voice of Badlands Pawn. I think the Metal Cowboy was exactly what they were looking for to provide not only the soundtrack of this attraction, but also to put a face and an image to that name, because this is all about guns, gold, and rock and roll, and that's what I'm all about. And so I think I was built for this gig, and I think this gig was built for me.
Well, Ron, you know, I got to ask you, you know, Sioux Falls, you know, that's way up there in the, I guess you would call it the Northwest or the Midwest, Midwest, I guess.
Yeah, we'd say Midwest, man, right smack dab in the center of the nation, where if you're going east, west, north, or south, eventually you're going to come through and hopefully stop at Badlands Pawn.
Sure. Well, you know, you mentioned a whole bevy of entertainment that, you know, is planned for this place, and the fact that, you know, I when you were describing it to me, it kind of, you know, I kind of get this picture of like the, what is it, the Full Throttle Saloon, like with Jesse James, you know, kind of like that kind of a thing, you know, a big entertainment complex. But what I'm curious about is, does your partner, owner, intend on making a profit on the entertainment portion, or is the entertainment portion more or less a draw to the place because the actual profit is made on the pawn shop and the gold and this and that? So do you get where I'm going with that?
Well, you know, we're in this economy and in this day and age in our country, it's very difficult to succeed in the entertainment business alone. I do expect the band to generate millions of dollars a year. I expect to be turning a profit, but it's going to come from a variety of sources. Advertisers on our radio stations, the television revenue, the pawn shop, the band touring revenue, and also hopefully CD and album and iTunes sales globally of the music that we create. As you well know, it's really tough to turn a profit in the recording business these days, and everybody's no stranger to what my business and my industry has become. It's not impossible to turn a profit, because I was lucky enough to do that last year with my Metal Cowboy project and with my autobiography, Even Keel, Life on the Streets of Rock and Roll. But man, and doing a radio thing and writing a book and making records and touring my ass off last year, I turned a profit, but I certainly earned it. But I believe that our revenue at a business like this is going to come from a variety of places. And like I said, whether it's sales of airtime on the radio stations, just marketing this thing in every way possible. And it's my job to make sure it succeeds and does turn a profit. So I'm going to bust my ass like I always do and put out some great music and provide the soundtrack to this deal.
Sure, absolutely. Now, how did you end up, in such a situation to where you became that guy that's going to kind of spearhead this thing? I mean, obviously that was a very lucky break, and through your 30-plus years career, I'm sure you made a lot of connections. So how were you the guy selected to rise to such a lofty position?
Well, I tell you, I got back from the Monsters of Rock alumni cruise. It was November 13, 14, something like that. And the day I got back, a couple of friends of mine worked with Mr. Brennan, who is the creator of Badlands Pawn and the Brennan Rock and Roll Academy and a number of other successful businesses. And he's been putting the wheels in motion for Badlands Pawn for a few years. And it got to the point where they had the name trademarked and they had the blueprints drawn and they had the battle plans laid and they were on schedule and to open this coming Thanksgiving, and they needed a theme song. And they had already picked out the tune. It was a cover tune, a Southern rock classic, and they asked me to sing the jingle. And I have a couple of friends that work with Chuck, and he was kind of laying out his plans to his team. And a couple of guys on this thing that started listening, you're going to have a radio station, and you're going to have a band, and it's going to be Badlands, and you're going to be this, guns and rock and roll and all gold. That sounds like something Ron Keel should be involved in. And to my credit, a couple of these guys that know me and that believe in me, that are my friends, stood up and said, "You need to talk to Ron." And lo and behold, they called me into the office the next day at 4 o'clock. Said, "Can you be here at 4?" I went into that meeting just knowing that this was meant to be and meant for me. So, yeah, I was in the right place at the right time with some people that were singing my praises and saying, "Hey, man, this is the guy for the gig." And by the end of the day, I was moving to Sioux Falls, and that was the last thing I ever expected. I have built a life in Vegas, and as we speak, man, I'm dismantling my bed. That's what I'm moving. I'm leaving in less than 48 hours for Sioux Falls for a permanent move. So it was really out of the blue, but it's something that, man, it's one of those opportunities like getting signed and getting to work with Gene was back in the day in 1985 when I got my record deal, and all of a sudden in the studio working with Gene Simmons, and you get the call, you're on tour with Bon Jovi, and you get these calls that these huge breaks in your career and in your life, and at this stage of the game, after 30 years in the business, those breaks don't come anywhere near as often as they used to. And at something like this, I had to jump on it. I had to sell my soul to the Badlands, and I trust that this is going to be the exclamation point on my career, and I can't be as any more optimistic about it as possible. I mean, the creator of this business has had a long track record of huge multi-million-dollar success stories. So there's a lot of great foundation that's been laid here, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Sure. Well, Chris and I are going to make a trip out there, so we better be able to sit in the studio and be part of at least one of your radio show broadcasts.
Dude, you guys come on, you could take over. You come in the studio, we're going to have the station is going to be behind glass so that the people in the pawn shop and in the venue facility there can, kind of watch what goes on behind the scenes at a radio station. And we're going to be, our motto is integrity with absolutely no integrity. I mean, it's going to be one 24/7 Badlands party on the air where if Gene Simmons or Alice Cooper or Vince Neil walks in the door and they're going to be making a guest appearance on our stage, we have the ability to broadcast that performance live to all our fans, all the listeners on the Badlands Radio Network. You guys walk in the door, I'm going to put you on the air. I'm going to put you to work. You're going to go take over for a couple hours while I go have a cocktail and listen to you guys rock it out. And it's going to be a non-stop, 24/7 Badlands party, guns, gold, and rock and roll on the air, on the stage, and hopefully worldwide.
Well, it definitely sounds great, man. Well, Ron, in addition to all this that you've got going on, something of a lesser thing, but probably bigger to me anyway, is as I've been talking about on the show for literally months, it's no secret that I've been slowly and steadily building this little museum, this Hall of Fame and museum over in Pittsburgh for video games and pinball machines, for the history of video games and pinball machines. And as we're inching closer to the opening of it, one of the things I decided was that I needed some guests, some special guests to come out and you know, through talking to people and whatnot, one of the things that we wanted to do was get somebody that had significant success at the same time as video games, you know, had their success, which would be early to mid 80s era. And, you know, to me, this was a very easy thing. And, you know, I the first name that came to mind is my buddy Ron Keel. So, you know, people probably aren't aware, but I made an email or two to you. Me and you talked back and forth. And, you know, today we can officially announce that you will be headlining our VIP opening on May the 23rd, Saturday, May the 23rd. So, you know, I'll start by saying, you know, thanks for doing it, man, because I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited about it, man. I could spend an hour asking you questions about it. It's a very interesting project. I'm wondering how you got the idea to become a part of this and got this off the ground, and now the doors are finally going to open. I'm going to be a big part of the grand opening on May 23rd in just outside of Pittsburgh in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, and it's a huge location, 10,000 plus square feet, I believe it's the Coin-Op Hall of Fame. Is that what you're calling it?
It is the Pennsylvania Coin-Operated Gaming Hall of Fame and Museum. It's a big, long title. We're just calling it the Gaming Hall of Fame for short.
The Pennsylvania, say that again.
It is the Pennsylvania.
It's
the Pennsylvania Coin-Operated Gaming Hall of Fame and Museum. It's an entirely too long title.
That's epic, man. I love it. And, you know, for short, for people, you can go on the website and kind of get an idea of what my man, Angry Chris Aiken, is up to. It's coinop, HOF.com. And, you know, Chris, I'm really excited to be a part of this. These video games and these things that you're showcasing and preserving for future generations were really a big part of what we did in the 80s, and especially for a guy like me, because we had long hours in the studio and in the lounge at every recording studio, and just about everywhere we went, at the restaurants we would eat at. There were these big, huge video games, and I remember we had Asteroids in our studio. We had Galaga. I was Pac-Man Demon. Those things were a big part of our culture in the 80s. I applaud you for keeping it alive and for creating a place where people can go and experience these games. And really thank you for bringing me on board to be a part of your grand opening ceremony. Now, this is something that you and I had talked about before I got my new gig at Badlands.
Right,
and
yeah. We talked about it, a year or so ago, didn't we?
Yeah, and part of the deal with my new position was that I'm pretty much tied to this thing, man. We're going to have a Keel gig on the Monsters of Rock cruise. That was already scheduled and on the books, and I'm not backing out of that for anything. And I've got a solo acoustic gig in Houston in April with Mike Tramp that was kind of a labor of love because I really wanted to do the gig. My daughter and my granddaughter live in Houston, and a chance to see them. And my appearance May 23rd at your Hall of Fame. That's all I'm doing this year, other than my Badlands commitments and related projects and getting that band off the ground and doing the grand opening of our Badlands Pawn facility on November 26th. So this is a rare occasion for me, but I'm glad that I was able to work it out and so that I could be there and be a part of this. And I'm excited about it. We're going to have a blast. I'm going to play some tunes. Billy Morris from Warrant, Quiet Riot. Everybody knows who Billy Morris is. Played with Tough. Last time I saw Billy, he was playing lead guitar and Tough. Right. And he's going to be there playing, singing. I'm going to challenge some of the fans to a Pac-Man tournament. We'll eat, drink, be merry, have some fun with rock and roll and some of these games. It's going to be a blast, man. I'm really glad to be a part of it.
Excellent. And it is. It's going to be fun. And I can honestly tell you, Ron, when you see this place, you're not going to believe how massive it is. It's not 50,000 square feet. It's 10,000, like you said, but it's 10,000 completely full of video games. And I think our count is 412 video games and pinball machines. it literally, you just stop and kind of have to look at it before you can actually make a pick to go do something.
That's killer, man. So are people going to be able to actually go in there like an arcade and pay, drop a quarter and play games?
Yeah, well, there's two parts to it. There's the quote unquote museum part to it, which is going to be a side element that's kind of an educational piece, and it's where you can learn the history of the gaming, and we're going to have some machines taken apart where you can see how they work and how the guts work and how it affected science and pop culture and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then you walk around the corner and you've got all the games, and all the games are going to be turned on, so you can try out any game you want to. You can play all the games that you want pretty much all day if you want to. And on each game itself is going to be a little code. And if you have a smartphone, you can just hold your smartphone up to the code and it'll tell you the full history of that game. So if you want, if you're playing, I don't know, Space Invaders or something, and you want to know something about Space Invaders, you just hold up your phone and it pulls up a page and tells you, hey, Space Invaders was built in 1980. It was built by Tato. It was, this, and this. And, it's a cool, it's kind of the combination of education and fun.
That is way cool. I applaud you for coming up with something like that. And, man, I wish somebody had done that in Vegas, because it sounds like a blast. But, I'm glad to be there on opening day and play some games. And, I'll do whatever I can to help spread the word and to drive some traffic to this wonderful new attraction of yours.
Sure. Well, it's going to be great, man. And believe me, I can't tell you, I know we talked about it. And I'll just tell you honestly, you and I talked about it. And then when I saw you had your gig, I was like, does it look like Ron's going to be able to do this? Once I saw the big commitment, and, you and I talk quite a bit outside of press releases. So, once I started hearing about what you were doing, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if Ron's gonna be able to do this, but I commend you, man, for making the time and making it happen, man. It's a big help, and I do appreciate it.
Well, I'm a man of my word. I said I'd do it, and, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't compromising my new situation anyway. But, wherever I go, I'm going to be making friends, raising awareness for all the causes that I'm involved in, whether it's Guitars for Vets, a new charity organization that I'm working with, or the Classic Metal Show, or Badlands Pawn, or any of these projects. I'm always going to be an ambassador for all of these things, and I'm going to be talking about it, spreading the word, and that word of mouth is invaluable in our business in this day of age. Even though now the word of mouth is spread through social media, it's still the best advertisement we can get for what we do. So you can bet your ass that I'll be shouting your praises loud and proud from the air, from my microphone, and in person on May 23rd.
Sure. Well, Ron, we'll be broadcasting live from the Pinball Hall of Fame and Museum, so I'm sure the fans can expect to hear you on the mic with us during that opening ceremony.
Oh, that'll be killer. Looking forward to it.
Well, it sounds like everybody's got something going on, and even I got a little something going on. The Classic Metal Show is going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary come the end of this year.
Wow.
So 20 years.
Congratulations, man. That is amazing.
Yeah. So, a lot of good things happening in 2015. Your new move to the Dakotas there, and your radio show and TV show, and Chris with his pinball thing, and it's just a lot of things happening.
That's awesome, man. I commend you on that. And when the time comes to celebrate that 20th anniversary, I certainly want to make sure that I give you a shout out. And that is quite an accomplishment. I'm proud of you.
Sure, thank you. Well, anything else going on with you, Ron? As if that isn't enough.
No, that's it, man. That's it. The move to Badlands Pawn, and that thing's going to be evolving rapidly. And I hope that people will stay in tune with us. You can always find me at ronkeel.com. I do have, and now we're off the air. We've just beta tested Ron Keel Radio, which is pretty cool. I have my own, it's an internet station, and basically it's a showcase for all of the music, all the stuff that I've done throughout my entire career. And I really enjoyed building it, getting all of my kids under one roof, so to speak. I mean, and on this radio station, Ron Keel Radio, you can hear stuff from my entire career, stuff, the country stuff, the Iron Horse stuff, the Saber Tiger Metal Cowboy, my reruns of my Streets of Rock and Roll radio show, obscure stuff that you're not going to hear anywhere else. All the guest appearances, whether I was singing with Black and Blue or House of Lords or all these various charity things that I've done for did the Kiss tribute for charity, and every track that I've ever done is showcased on Ron Keel Radio. Even the stuff that I don't want to hear, that I can't stand, I know the fans like it, and they get off on the especially the Steelers stuff and all that. It's all there. And put it on hold now until I get all the equipment relocated to the new studio in Sioux Falls. So we're off the air for a couple of weeks, but the testing phase is over, and the response has been great. Everybody's been able to listen to the show or the station on their iPhones and their devices, and apparently the technology is all in place. Now when I get reset in Sioux Falls, I'm going to start broadcasting some live Keel concerts from the 80s, like maybe on Saturday nights, you get to hear Keel live at the Agora in Cleveland from 85 or something. So we're going to dig out some of those old tapes. It's not really good enough to release as a live album, but it really captures the moment. We recorded a lot of shows back then, so I'm going to remaster some of those, broadcast some rare live concert stuff. So I'm happy about that, and the radio station is something that I can fly by remote control. Doesn't take a whole lot of time. I just program the playlist, and it kind of flies. It's automated. You know how that rolls. The SAM broadcasting software kind of does the job for you, and then I can pop on the air and have some practice runs. So I keep my chops up because I'm not going to be back on the radio live until Thanksgiving when Badlands Radio Network goes on the air. So it gives me a chance to keep my radio life alive, life support, while I'm making this transition. So everybody, you can always find me in that and all the other good stuff at ronkeel.com. And I appreciate the Classic Metal Show, my buddies Wendell Neely, Chris Aiken, keeping rock and roll alive in Ohio and on the airwaves worldwide.
Sure. Well, Ron, as always, we appreciate you taking some time and really updating us with everything that's going on. Congratulations on the new gig. That sounds awesome. And I am going to make a point of making the trip out there to check it out in person.
Good. I'll count on it. And I appreciate you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on May 23rd.
Well, Ron, I can't think of a better tune to end this little interview than something from one of my favorite metal bands of the 80s. That would be Metal Church. And I think the appropriate song would be Badlands.
Awesome. Good call, then. Long live Metal Church, long live Badlands, and long live the Classic Metal Show. This is Ron Keel. I love you. I keel you.
All right, well, here it is. This is Metal Church with Badlands exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.